What's going on, everyone? It's your favorite blue guy here. Today, I'm gonna vent a little bit, while also hopefully making the answer to a commonly asked question on the network super clear. If you're a player like me, chances are you know what ban evading is. If not, it's the act of using another account to bypass a punishment, regardless whether you think the ban is valid or not. This can also be used for mutes and competitive bans as well. The topic of ban evading and deciding to do it has been at the center of arguments and debate on the forums for many years, so it's nothing new. But the reason I'm making this is today, I got a response from someone regarding ban evading that did something rare. It got under my skin, but not in the way you'd think. I'll explain why. The response is about 2 paragraphs long, and in it, the poster talks about how he believes ban evading to be considered do at your own risk. He talks about how many people ban evade, including more influential players, like leaderboard players. He says that any viewpoints not his, he'll disagree with. I want to start off by saying that this response is completely wrong. Normally, a response like this is easily shrugged off, however, there's more to it than you may think. While I did just say that he was completely wrong with everything he said, at the same time, I also know why one would think what he thinks, and that's why it got under my skin. Let's go back in time a little bit over 2 years ago to be exact. Skyblock is only a few months old, and even rarer than an appearance by Grupo, Simon is posting on the forums. Simon has one problem that I think most of us can maybe agree on. He kind of acts on an impulse from time to time. Me and a few people I know have directly experienced this impulse behavior, and it ain't fun. Now, why would I bring something like that up? Well, around this time, a thread was made discussing ban evading. I forget all the context because the thread's gone at this point, but someone said something, and it must have really got to Simon because he decided to come in and reply. Now, Simon could have easily put a direct and quick end to this topic about ban evading. He could have closed the Iron Curtain and given a clear, distinct, and impossible to interpret different answer on ban evading. Instead, Simon decided to make things harder for his moderators. He decides to answer the thread, but instead of doing what I just said, he tells the person that he can start over and that he won't bother to look for another account. It was clear Simon was frustrated. However, his frustration and impulse clearly got the better of him that day, and because of that, he unwillingly and unknowingly gave ban evaders the green light, likely not what he was trying to do. Simon's a smart person. Obviously he is, otherwise the server would not still be here. But what he posted in response to this thread was easily his least thought out yet. With his poor choice of words, he unknowingly created a way for ban evaders to use evidence that the owner of the server said ban evading is allowed. As someone who frequently uses the forums, it's frustrating to tell someone that they won't be unbanned and then have them, or someone else, pull up that screenshot from Simon even to this day. If you want a more in-detail guide about this single response and the context leading up to it, you can watch this video here, link will be in the description. I still think the best way to solve this particular case is for Simon to make a follow-up post clearly discussing how what he said there was wrong and that ban evading is absolutely disallowed. And I don't know why it hasn't happened yet. Alright, anyways, I'm gonna respond to the 2 points here in this response that are just flat out wrong. I want to start with where he says leaderboard is ban evade, therefore making it okay to ban evade yourself. This one's got a pretty simple counter. Insert friend, insert cliff. I think you guys can piece the rest together. I still don't understand why certain users try to use whataboutism and think it will do anything. Pretty much every crime would be illegal if this logic truly applied. Other people choosing to ban evade does not grant you permission to do the same, even if they're a leaderboard player. Sounds like you need to find better people to look up to. The second point I want to touch on is where he says it's your choice to ban evade. Spoiler alert, it ain't. I think what frustrated me the most about this particular section is how he says this is the true answer, despite it being so far from that. Posts like this being spread around give so many users the wrong idea, and more really needs to be done about it. As far as I know, with the exception of Simon's now deleted response that isn't even him doing that, there are 0 cases of a higher-up publicly stating that ban evading is allowed to all users. On the contrary, I was easily able to find multiple posts from several higher-ups detailing about ban evading not only being disallowed, but also talking about tools they have to catch these ban evaders. Important lesson of the day that I hope you take away from this: listen to admin and game master answers, not random players who are going off an easily misunderstood frustration response that was deleted. This is another take that wasn't brought up anywhere, but it was something I thought up just now and wanted to put into your heads to hopefully consider. Here's a hypothetical for you guys. Let's say that you get banned, and it's actually the less than 1% occurrence that the ban is false. You got banned. You shouldn't have been banned. Your account wasn't hijacked. You broke 0 rules. You decide to make a public thread first, detailing how your ban isn't valid. Now, instead of a user telling you to make a ban appeal, let's say a post like this. is posted in response. You look at it and you decide to trust it. Instead of using the ban appeal section the proper way and getting unbanned, you choose to ban evade, instantly becoming the rule breaker you just said you weren't, thus discrediting everything you just said. Not only that, it also takes away your actual method of getting unbanned. That is how responses like this hurt other users without them realizing it. I'm going to post as many links as I can find of admins and game masters stating ban evading to be completely disallowed in the description. I think it's super important to understand that ban evading is not a do-at-your-own-risk thing. Unlike that post, what I just said is actually the true answer. I also wanted to say that as of a day later, this response was actually removed for purposefully spreading misinformation and encouraging rule breaking. That was supposed to be the end of the video right there. However, a new situation has come up now that I think would be perfect to incorporate here, as it touches a kind of evading that usually isn't discussed enough. As you all probably know, the Skywars doubles tournament just happened, and I did not participate in it. Woohoo. If you looked at the forums of Twitter just a little bit after it ended, you may have heard the news that a YouTuber who placed in the top 20 of the tournament named specularpotato got wiped from the tournament along with his teammate. In his initial response to Twitlonger, he mentions how the teammate he played with used to be a cheater, which is already suspicious enough, but that wasn't all. He also revealed in his Twitlonger that his teammate was using an alt account to evade a permanent competitive ban that he had on his main. specularpotato used the excuse that he had no idea that this was something that was punishable, despite several people warning him of it beforehand. He also says he believes it isn't fair to be wiped, as the comp ban happened over a year ago, despite it being a permanent comp ban, and that the server has virtually never punished people in the past for stuff like this either, which gave him the impression there was nothing wrong with it. Now that is what truly concerned me. specularpotato has nearly 60,000 subscribers on YouTube. Whether he likes it or not, he's an influence to many of his viewers, and him not taking the time to figure out if competitive punishment evading is against the rules or not sets a really bad example for his fans. I don't think he's actively encouraging people to break rules or anything. Respectfully, I think in this case, he was just kind of an idiot. His Twitlonger also appears to try to gain sympathy by discussing how much time he spent in the tournament, and by also blaming the server for not being transparent enough, despite it being clear common sense that you can't evade a punishment. It's not exactly the most encouraging of sights to see a YouTuber being this straight up ignorant of set ground rules on the server. While I think his entire Twitlonger was incredibly dumb and full of ignorance, he did seem to gain some sense later, not only in some of his Twitter responses, but also in a recently uploaded video of his going more into detail about it. Here he publicly takes some form of responsibility. He also kinda confessed that his Twitlonger was kinda bad, which better late than never, I guess. He also says how he doesn't name the teammate because he doesn't want anyone going out of their way to attack or harass him. However, he seemed perfectly content ratting him out in the Twitlonger, so... Let this be yet another lesson to everyone watching. Punishments need to be waited out. They are not there to be dodged. It should be clear that punishment evading is not to be tolerated on the server. I do hope that YouTubers do take something away from what happened to Specular and make some sort of announcement to those that watch them about evading. Alright, that's all for me and my venting. I'll see you guys later. Peace.